All right, now that the Olympics are over, we're going to go over the top performers from the men's Olympics, and we're going to talk about some of the guys who I think could have, made their way back into the league based off their performances here in the Olympics. So starting off here, we're going to go over USA. Their top players are LeBron, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant. LeBron averaged 14, 7, and 9 on 66% shooting from the field. So pretty good there for LeBron James. He was the MVP of the entire tournament because USA obviously did win the gold. And LeBron James at age 39 was the best player on the team. Then Stephen Curry was right behind him. He averaged 15 on 50%, 40%, 48% from three. He really didn't do a whole lot until the last two games where he went off for 36 and 24 points. But overall, he was still doing good throughout the tournament. Just didn't play a huge role. Kevin Durant, he averaged 14 points. He, really was really good in the first game against Serbia. After that, he didn't have any big games, but he was still a really solid player for Team USA. So 14 points on 54% and 52% shooting from three. So again, all three of these guys were amazing throughout the entire tournament. And we still did have other guys like Devin Booker, who was also really good throughout the entire tournament, but I only wanted to limit it to about three guys per team. Here for France, their top guys are going to be Victor Wembanyama, Gershon Yabusele, and Isaiah Cordinier. Wembanyama averaged about 16 and 10 and three assists, two steals, almost two blocks a game as well. He was amazing. He did not shoot the ball particularly well, but his impact was certainly felt every single possession on the defensive side of the ball. He was amazing. Gershon Yabusele was one of the more surprising players of this tournament here. He averaged 14 points and three boards a game on 52-29 splits. Not the best shooting from three, but he was really solid and had some really good games in this tournament. I feel like he definitely could be a player that might be able to make it back to the NBA. He was with the Boston Celtics a few years ago. I do think he can make his way back. Isaiah Cordinier averaged about 9 points on 48 and 44 splits. So he just shot the ball incredibly efficient from the three-point line. That's really why he's going to get on here. And because of that three-point shooting, definitely could put him, on an NBA radar at least. So yeah, he played really well. For Serbia here, you got Nikola Jokic, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and then Vasily Micic. All three of these guys are NBA players already, so you kind of expect them to, obviously play pretty good for their team. Jokic averaged 19, 11, and 9, kind of close to a triple-double there. Pretty efficiently as well. He did not shoot the three ball good at all, only 17%, but he did everything else absolutely amazing and helped lead Serbia to the bronze medal. Bogdan Bogdanovic was also amazing. He had 30, I believe it was like 31 points or something against Team USA in the semifinal match. He has been amazing throughout the entire tournament as well, averaging 18, 4, and 4 on 48, 46 splits, shot the ball insanely efficiently from three. And then Vasily Micic, he was pretty solid, averaging 13, 2, and almost 5 assists on solid efficiency as well. He was only a rookie this year in the NBA. He's kind of an old rookie, and I do expect him to still continue to be a solid player here in the NBA, especially after his Olympic performance. Next up will be Germany. They got Franz Wagner, Dennis Schroeder, and Isaac Bonga, who did really good. Franz Wagner was averaging 19, 6, and about 3 assists with 2 steals on 47, 20 splits. So definitely did not shoot very good from the three-point line, but overall he was certainly probably the best player for Germany, probably outside of Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder was probably a little bit better than him. He averaged 17, 3, and almost 8 assists on 46, 39 splits. So he was actually a really efficient scorer from both levels. Franz Wagner was an efficient scorer from the two-point line, but anything outside of that, he was obviously a pretty inefficient shooter there. But both those guys were doing really good to lead this team to a semifinal match, and they did end up losing in the bronze medal game. Isaac Bonga here, he was in the NBA a few years ago with the Lakers and Wizards a little bit. He averaged 9 points and 4 boards on 58 shooting from the field and 58 shooting from three. So with that insanely good three-point percentage there, that definitely feels like to me that he could earn a spot back in the NBA. if he can continue to be a sharpshooter at that level. Next up will be South Sudan. They had a lot of guys that I thought did really, really good. I actually had to end up putting four for South Sudan, even though I only wanted to limit it to three. But they had guys like Carlick Jones, Mario Shayok, Nooni Omat, and Bull Cole. I think Carlick Jones was a G League MVP like 2 years ago. He was been in the NBA before, but he was not in the NBA last season. He averaged 18, 5, and 8 assists on 46-27 splits. Not the best shooting from three, but overall was an amazing scorer, an amazing all-around player here for South Sudan. Mario Shayok has been in the NBA with the 76ers. He averaged 15, 4, and 3, but he did it very inefficiently on 32-30 splits. So even though he got some good counting stats, his efficiency was pretty poor, which will definitely hurt him. Given that an NBA team might try to look for scouting players here in the Olympics, he did not shoot the ball very well. So that definitely does not give off the best impressions to NBA teams. Now, Nooni Omont, I've never heard of this guy before. I don't think he's been in the NBA. He averaged 17, 3, and 3 on 42-39 splits. He was an amazing shooter here in the Olympics, and I definitely think that he could have earned a spot here at the NBA. After his Olympic performance. Then you got a guy like Bull Cole, who's just an absolute insane shooter here in the Olympics. Averaged 13 points on 60% shooting from the field and 73% shooting from three. It's not like he only took one or two threes a game. He took like four or five, I believe, threes a game, and he just ended up making like 73% is absolutely insane. So obviously being an insane sharpshooter here in the 3 games in the Olympics, I know it's a very small sample size, but definitely could be turning some heads in the NBA. Next up will be Canada. Their entire team is basically former NBA guys, or current NBA guys, I mean. So not really going to be a surprise here. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, RJ Barrett, and Dillon Brooks. Shea averaged about 21, 4, and 4 with good defensive stats as well on pretty good efficiency. RJ Barrett, about 20 points, 4 and 4 on pretty solid efficiency. He actually shot 44% from three, which is really, really good. And then Dillon Brooks averaged about 11 and 4 on 41-46 splits. So amazing 3-point shooting from Dillon Brooks as well. Then next up will be Australia. They have quite a bit of NBA guys on their team too. Guys like Patty Mills, Josh Giddey, and Jock Landale. FIBA Patty Mills might be one of the best players of all time. If you didn't watch the Australia and France quarterfinal game, that was absolutely insane. Patty Mills was going off. He hit an insane buzzer beater to force overtime. They ended up losing in that game, but he was still doing very, very good, and he was very fun to watch here in the Olympics. He averaged about 17, 2, and 1 on 41-41 splits, and then Josh Giddey averaged about 18, 8, and 6 on 50-47 splits. Josh Giddey has been known to not be a very good three-point shooter, which definitely holds him back a little bit in the NBA. That's a big reason why the Thunder ended up trading him away, is because he was not the best three-point shooter. But in the Olympics here, averaging 47% shooting from the three, definitely helps him. If he can continue to be an improved three-point shooter in the NBA, that'll take his game to a whole nother level. And then Jock Landale averaged about 15 and 9 on 63-50 splits as well. He did not shoot much three, so that's pretty low sample size, but he was pretty dominant in his time here in the Olympics as well. Next up will be Japan. They got Josh Hawkinson, Yuki Kawamura, and then, of course, Rui Hachimura, who was amazing. Josh Hawkinson averaged 18 and almost 10 rebounds on 61-75 splits, and he did shoot quite a bit of threes as well. So averaging 75% shooting as a big man from three is absolutely insane. I definitely feel like he could have turned some heads from some NBA scouts. Yuki Kawamura averaging 23 and 8 assists. He did it pretty inefficiently from the field at only 34%, but he shot really good from three at 41% there. So as long as he can, get his finishing at the rim, that was a big issue because he tried to finish. He's a pretty small guard. He tried to finish over a lot of bigger defenders in the lane and stuff, and that's why his field goal percentage is so low, even though his three-point percentage is pretty high. But if he can get that fixed a little bit, he could probably get a spot in the NBA as well. And the Rui Hachimura, of course, was amazing, averaging 22 and 7 on 40-36 splits. The next up will be Spain. They had a couple NBA guys here: Santi Aldama, Sergio Llull, and Willie Hernangomez. Aldama, obviously, in the NBA with the Grizzlies. He averaged 18, 9, and 2, almost 2 blocks a game as well on 41-45 splits. Absolutely amazing. 3-point percentage there. Was a really, really good player here for Spain. Definitely feels like his NBA stock goes up, and if he can continue to be an improved player here for the Grizzlies, that'll definitely help him going into next season. Now, Sergio Lul's been a guy that has been dominating FIBA basketball for quite a while. He's like 36 years old. He's never had a spot in the NBA. Part of me thinks that he just doesn't want to, that he enjoys playing in Spain so much. I haven't really looked into that, but I do think that makes sense to me because there's no reason why this guy would have not been in the NBA at some point if he really wanted to. But he averaged 14, 2, and 4 on 40-37 splits. Doing really good here for Spain. Willie Hernangomez is pretty good. Averaged 12, 5, and 1 on 52% shooting as well. I don't think he was in the NBA last year, but he's been in the NBA, in previous seasons. Next up, we got Brazil. Bruno Caboclo, Vitor Benite, and Marcelo Huertas. Bruno Caboclo was with the Raptors. He was supposed to be 2 years away from being 2 years away. And then he never really panned out in the NBA. He was amazing here in the 3 games. I think they played 4. Yeah, I think they played 4 games here. And he was absolutely amazing in all of those. He averaged 17, 7, only 0.8 assists. He's definitely not a passer of the ball. But 17, 7, almost 2 steals on 59-55 splits. He put up over 30 points against Team USA in the quarterfinal matchup, and he absolutely torched us, shooting amazing efficiency as well. If he would have had a lot more help, because he was amazing. All 3 of these guys shot the ball really, really well, but they still end up losing to USA by like 40 in the quarterfinal game. Vitor Benite averaged about 12 points on 50% shooting and 45% from 3. I believe he's a guard or a forward or something. Basically, his only job is to stand there and shoot threes, and he does that job pretty well. Then Marcelo Huertas was in the NBA with the Lakers a while back. He averaged about 9 points, 2 boards, and 5 assists on 53-60 split. He is 41 years old. This is probably, he might still be playing a year or 2 more overseas, but he's probably going to be done for the Olympics, and he's probably not have any chance of making it back to the NBA, even though he's probably good enough to be. It's just that he's 41 years old, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for any NBA team to try to chase after him again. Next up, we do got Puerto Rico. They got a couple. I only put 2 guys on here because they really did not have guys that were doing really good. Puerto Rico was definitely the worst team in this tournament. They performed the worst, had the worst margin of loss or margin of defeat or whatever. But Jose Alvarado himself was doing pretty good. 15 points, about 2 boards, and 3 assists on 49-32 splits. And then Christopher Ortiz was decent as well, averaging 8 points, 3 boards, about 2 assists. Only 35% from the field, which is not very good, but he shot 42% from 3, which was really good. So aside from, Jose Alvarado, they did not have a lot of help. Ortiz shot the 3 ball really well. That's about it. And, as you can tell, there's a big reason why Puerto Rico did not do very good in this tournament. Last team here is going to be Greece. And, of course, we're going to have Giannis on this list. Then you got Thomas Walkup and then Kostas Papanikolaou. So Giannis dominated the tournament, averaging 26, 6, and 4 with 1 steal a game on 68-17 splits. So he did not shoot the 3 ball well at all, which could be a little bit concerning. But then again, he had like a 3-game sample size. I don't even think they ended up making the quarterfinal, if I'm not mistaken. If they did, then he had a 4-game sample size. I can't remember exactly who all made the quarterfinal. But I do know that Giannis was absolutely dominant in this Olympics. Thomas Walkup was solid as well, averaged about 10 points, 2 boards, 3 assists with 1.5 steal on some solid efficiency at 43-38 splits. And then Kostas Papanikolaou, he was in the NBA for a couple years back in like 2016 or so, I believe, with the Houston Rockets. He averaged about 9.6 boards and 2 assists on 41-40 splits. So pretty good shooting from the 3. Not the best from the field, but he shoots mainly outside, even though he is a big man. And then that is going to be it for that. We're going to go over the All-Olympic teams now. The All-Olympic first team here, the All-Star 5 is what they called it. We had Dennis Schroeder from Germany, Stephen Curry, and LeBron from USA. And LeBron was the MVP of the tournament, and then Victor Wembanyama from France, and Nikola Jokic from Serbia. Not a real big surprise here. Some of you may be surprised about Dennis Schroeder, just because there's guys that are certainly better than him, like you'd perceive as better than him, but Dennis Schroeder in FIBA ball is a whole different animal. Then our second team here is going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Franz Wagner, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Gershon Yabusele, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. So again, four of these guys are NBA players, and you definitely kind of expect. You definitely would expect Shai and Giannis at least. Franz Wagner was doing really good for Germany. Bogdan Bogdanovic was amazing for Serbia. And then some of you guys might not know Gershon Yabusele. He was in the NBA before, like I said earlier, but he balled out here. Definitely, I do believe he earned his spot 100% on the second team here from France. So now we're going to go over some guys that were not in the NBA last year. Some of them have been in the NBA in previous years. Some have been, never been in the NBA. And some of these guys I've already talked about a little bit throughout the video, but these are just more guys that I do think the NBA or have potential to be in the NBA, just this next season. I do believe I have 20 names here for you guys. So I'm just going to get started. I'm going to go off a little bit fast. If you want to look at the stats and stuff yourself, you can. We got Gershon Yabusele, Isaiah Cordonnet, Alexa Avramovic, Philip Petrusev, Ogden Jobrich, Isaac Bonga, Karlik Jones, Mario Shayok, Nuni Omot, Volk Hull, Jack McVeigh, Josh Hawkinson, Yuki Kawamura, Willie Hernan Gomez, Bruno Caboclo, Vitor Benite, Marcelo Huertas, Christopher Ortiz, Thomas Waklep, and Kostas Papanikolaou. All of these guys were doing really good in this tournament, and I definitely think they could have a spot in the NBA next season. That's going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out any other videos I do have on this channel, and stay tuned in for future videos. Thank you.